COVID count. Now, the contribution of just 7 states in the country is 76%, about 3/4 of the total cases in the country, and the rest of the states contribute to only 24%. So most of the caseload is concentrated on these 7 states that are currently at your screens. Maharashtra has the highest percentage at 33%. 1 in every 3 patients in the country is from Maharashtra, according to that percentage. Delhi, 12%. Remember, we're going to see focused approach towards Delhi with the Home Minister having meetings today at 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., the ones that we've just been discussing. Then we have Tamil Nadu as well, where Chennai especially has seen a constant surge in cases. Tamil Nadu and Delhi both are, causing a huge amount of concern in the country. Tamil Nadu has 13% of the total cases in the country. Let's now focus on Rajasthan and Gujarat, 4% and 7% respectively. Remember, in Gujarat, most of the cases are concentrated in Ahmedabad. About 70% of the total cases are concentrated in just one city. We have Uttar Pradesh at 4%. Remember, according to recent trends, the urban areas of Uttar Pradesh are causing more concern than the rural areas, with more cases being reported there. And Madhya Pradesh we have at 3%. Well, let's go across to my colleague Sneha Murdani for more details. Sneha, the spike in cases truly, causing a lot of worry, with now the centre focusing on Delhi in order to contain the cases.
Absolutely. Delhi continues to be an area of concern, given the fact that the kind of pressure...
Right, we'll try and reconnect to Sneha in just a bit. But remember, the Prime Minister will also be having a meeting with the state chief ministers over the 16th and the 17th. This, of course, will be feedback on the process of unlocking that has taken place in many states. The Prime Minister will be focusing on the states that are not that affected on the 16th, and will be focusing on the ones more affected on the 17th. Going back across to my colleague Sneha. Sneha, please go ahead. All right, we seem to be having some audio trouble, but remember, the national capital has recorded over 2,000 new cases for the second consecutive day today. Meanwhile, we're expecting 2 important meetings this morning at 11 a.m. and then later at 5 p.m. Remember, this fresh spike in cases has resulted in the national capital crossing the 36,000 mark. The death toll has crossed 1,200 as well. Meanwhile, a lot of concerns about the shortage of beds in the national capital. We are expecting that to be focused on as well. Remember, the Delhi government has announced that nursing homes with 10 to 49 bed capacity will be converted into COVID centres. That's just one of a series of measures that the Delhi government has announced to increase bed capacity. We're expecting more measures to be announced as well after the meeting with the Home Minister Amit Shah, with the Lieutenant Governor, as well as other senior officials of the State Disaster Management Authority. Let's now focus on the countries that are most affected on account of the COVID-19 pandemic. These are the 10 worst affected nations. Remember, India just 2 days ago has taken the 4th position. We now have 3,20,922 cases. The US, of course, is far, far ahead of any other country in the world. They have more than double the number of cases of the next most affected country, which is Brazil. The US has 21,42,224 total cases. Remember, these cases are expected to rise with the number of protests we've seen in the aftermath of the killing of George Floyd. Brazil at 8,50,796 total cases. But Brazil, remember, is also one of the highest mortality rates in the world. Russia has 5,20,129. India about 2 lakhs less at 3,20,922. Then we have the UK and Spain. Their numbers are almost similar, 2,94,000 and 2,90,000 respectively. Italy just slightly behind at 2,36,000. We have Peru as well at 2,20,000. Remember, Peru as well has just recently emerged in the list of top 10 countries most affected. Germany at 1,87,000. The German government has announced substantial opening up. And we also have Iran at 1,84,000, just about 3,000 cases less than Germany. Let's also go across now to my colleague Neetu Regukumar, who joins us from Trivandrum for more details. Neetu, the Kerala government has seen a surge in cases ever since expats have been returning from abroad, which is why now the Kerala government has announced that at least for expats who are taking chartered flights, they will have to be certified COVID negative. But are we expecting similar measures to be taken for those returning from Vande Bharat flights?
No, as of now, so this is only for the chartered flights. So from June 20, there are a lot of chartered flights that have sought permission from the state government to land. So what this order by the Principal Secretary K. Lengovan from the NOCA department says is that from 20th onwards, anybody who is coming in the chartered flight should have a COVID negative certificate. This is because people coming in from Middle East, this is mainly for people coming in from Middle East. It's about 3% to 6% is a percentage of the positive cases that are coming in. So that is why they are resorting to such measure. But as of now, it is not extended to Vande Bharat. Now, as far as the cases are concerned, there is a steady increase that we are seeing, and majority of these cases are either people coming in from abroad or from other states. So this is in line with what we have been noticing right from May 10th. After May 7th, expats started coming in. The quarantine policy has also been changed by the state government as of now. It was about 7-day institutional quarantine for those coming in from abroad. But after a checkup at the airport, right now, if people have facility for quarantine at their home, which has been assessed by the local department, they can go directly to their homes and be in home quarantine for 14 days.
All right. Stay on with us, Neetu. Let's also go across to Radhika, who joins us from Mumbai for more details. Radhika, a key decision expected on the commencing of Mumbai local trains for essential workers. Remember, this is something that the Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has been pushing for the last couple of weeks, in fact.
Absolutely. In fact, for the last couple of months itself, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray had been pushing for it since lockdown 3 itself began. Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray in various meetings had been, seeking approval from the centre to start local train services in Mumbai for essential service providers. Of course, it is not materialized, but once again, several rounds of meetings is expected to happen between state, centre as well as railway officials to see if it is feasible. Right now what's happening is that there are thousands of essential service workers who are using their private vehicles. Of course, there are BEST buses, but they are getting overcrowded, over the days. So therefore, and these are people who live in far-off destinations. So therefore, these suburban train services would only help, these essential service providers to commute from one place, far-off place, to another destination. So therefore, this is being sought. Of course, there are lots of challenges because we know for a fact that suburban train services tend to get very, very crowded. So there shouldn't be any trespassing. There are a lot of entry and exit points at many of these stations. So that would lead to, all regular passengers also to come in. That's the fear. So it has to be worked out very carefully. So yes, modalities has to be worked out as to which are the destinations that it will apply to, which are the stops for these, for these trains. What about the timings? Will it be staggered timing? What about ticketing procedure? Will it be given in advance for these essential service providers, or will an ID be sought? So all these modalities and, detailing has to be worked out so that this can start on a restricted basis for essential service providers. But yes, state government very, very keen to start these services. Rajesh Tope in a meeting with the Union Health Minister had also spoken about it. Uddhav Thackeray, of course, pushing for it for a long time. We'll have to wait and see how things will pan out because number of cases in Mumbai is increasing. We are talking about more than 56,000 cases. On an average, it's 1,300 to 1,400 cases every day that's recorded in the city of Mumbai. So whether it is, prudent, whether it's a wise decision, not entirely certain. But Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, the state government officials, saying that what they are seeking is these train services only for essential service providers because there are many in medical field as well as, BMC officials, BST buses, and there are many other government officials who are traveling from far-off places for whom this will be helpful.
All right, stay on with us, Radhika. Let's also switch focus to Delhi. That has also emerged as almost as big a problem area as Mumbai. Sneha Murdani joins us on the broadcast. Sneha, the health minister as well as the director of AIIMS will be a part of today's meetings. anything you're able to gather from your sources as to what we're expecting?
You know, upgradation of healthcare infrastructure and what can be done in that direction is going to be the top discussion, top talking point in this meeting, all important meeting that's going to be held today. It's also important to chalk out the strategy, the way forward, given the fact that there's been lack of coordination with the private healthcare sector also. Is there going to be some amount of capping in terms of prices of what private hospitals are really charging? How are private labs also then going to go forward in terms of testing? All of this is going to be taken into account and discussed. You rightly said that Delhi is a concern. One of the metros across the country that is seeing an increase in the number of cases continues to be Delhi. A decision was taken by the Delhi government to involve nursing homes. A couple of nursing homes like those providing IVF services, ENT, etc. have been exempted. But by and large, the thinking is that hospitals and nursing homes that have registered under the Nursing Home Act of the Delhi government have to comply and have to turn them, turn into COVID-19 hospitals, dedicated COVID-19 hospitals. The sense is that there is a lot of demand, more so because this is the national capital and we already have people from the national capital region, for example, Faridabad, Ghaziabad, Noida, and Gurgaon, other places coming into Delhi for treatment. That is something that has been, decided by the LG in his capacity, that the Delhi government can't turn away patients who are not citizens of Delhi, essentially. So this is something that is being expected, that in days to come, there will be a lot more pressure, a lot more burden on hospitals. In fact, one of the estimates says that in days to come, there will be about 1,500 beds required, 15,000 beds required, apologize for that. And by July, we'll be requiring more than 33,000 hospital beds.
Right.
How are they going to convert a public healthcare infrastructure like stadiums and other areas into quarantine facilities, not necessarily isolation, but quarantine, and also into COVID healthcare units? These will obviously not have ICU setups and oxygen fixed beds, but where patients can recuperate if they're not in a position to recuperate at home. All of those modalities is going to be discussed.
Right, a lot of brainstorming on how to deal with the situation in the national capital. Thank you, Sneha, for joining us.